In a significant development for Michigan's political landscape, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg is reportedly weighing a bid for the U.S. Senate seat currently held by Democrat Debbie Stabenow, who announced her retirement earlier this week. The potential candidacy of Buttigieg, a prominent figure in the Biden administration and a former mayor of South Bend, Indiana, could shake up the race in a state that has been a critical battleground for both parties in recent elections. Buttigieg's consideration comes at a time when Governor Gretchen Whitmer, viewed as a strong candidate for the Senate, has publicly stated she will not pursue the position. Whitmer's decision opens the door for other Democrats, including Buttigieg, to enter the race, with Stabenow stepping down after more than a decade of service. The Democratic Party faces a pivotal moment in ensuring the seat remains within their grasp. "We need a candidate who can energize and unite our base while appealing to moderate voters," said one Democratic strategist, underscoring the importance of a strong campaign. Polling data indicates that Michigan Democrats will need to address various pressing issues, including the economy, healthcare, and infrastructure, areas where Buttigieg has considerable expertise. His role as Transportation Secretary has placed him at the forefront of the Biden administration's ambitious infrastructure initiatives, which are particularly resonant in a state with a strong manufacturing base. According to a recent poll, Buttigieg is viewed favorably by 54% of Michigan voters, suggesting he could be a formidable candidate should he choose to run. However, the political landscape is not without hurdles. The Democratic Party is currently grappling with internal divisions, especially regarding President Biden's recent federal spending freeze, which has drawn criticism from various factions within the party. Lawmakers across the country, including those from Virginia, have expressed concerns that such measures could hinder critical funding for local projects and services. "It's essential for us to advocate for our communities, and this freeze poses a serious threat to our progress," said Virginia Delegate Jennifer McClellan, highlighting the tension within the party. As Buttigieg contemplates his potential candidacy, he will also need to navigate a complex political environment marked by these challenges. The Democratic Party's ability to rally around a single candidate will be crucial in the upcoming race, particularly in light of recent polling that suggests the party is facing significant headwinds nationwide. A recent survey indicated that only 37% of voters believe the party is effectively addressing their concerns, signaling a need for revitalization. Looking ahead, Buttigieg's decision will not only impact his political future but could also shape the broader dynamics of the Democratic Party in Michigan and beyond. With the 2024 elections on the horizon, the stakes are high for Democrats aiming to maintain their foothold in the Senate. The interplay of Buttigieg's ambitions, the withdrawal of Whitmer, and the party's response to internal and external pressures will be closely watched as Michigan prepares for what promises to be a fiercely contested election cycle. In an era marked by political polarization and economic uncertainty, recent commentary has surfaced suggesting that certain factions within the Republican Party are prioritizing divisive rhetoric over the collective good of the American populace. This sentiment emerges amid a backdrop of declining approval for some of former President Trump's early actions, as evidenced by a recent Reuters Ipsos poll that shows growing discontent among voters. The crux of the argument is that a mere 1% of Americans, often characterized as the wealthy elite, has become an obsession for some Republican leaders, overshadowing broader issues that affect a larger segment of society. Critics argue that this fixation on attacking a small fraction of the population distracts from the pressing challenges facing ordinary Americans, such as rising living costs, healthcare access, and job security. As one opinion piece from USA Today articulates, Republicans care more about attacking 1% of Americans than helping any of us, underscoring the belief that a shift in focus is urgently needed. This criticism has not gone unnoticed within the party itself. Notably, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell recently spoke candidly about the party's direction, which has led to backlash from fellow Republicans who feel he is straying from the party line. Such internal dissent highlights the ideological rift that continues to widen among Republican lawmakers, particularly as they grapple with aligning their agendas with the priorities of their constituents. The implications of this discord are significant, as House GOP leaders await strategic direction from Speaker Mike Johnson on how to navigate Trump's controversial agenda. The urgency of making decisions that resonate with a broader voter base remains paramount. Adding to the complexity, the poll from Reuters revealed that many Americans are increasingly skeptical of Trump's early policy moves, indicating a potential shift in public sentiment that could have ramifications for future elections. This decline in approval not only challenges Trump's influence but also raises questions about the Republican Party's ability to unite around a cohesive platform that addresses the needs of the majority. As the political landscape evolves, the Republican Party stands at a crossroads. The challenge lies in balancing the interests of a vocal base with the broader concerns of the electorate. With midterm elections approaching, the pressure to recalibrate priorities has never been more critical. If Republican leaders fail to pivot away from narrow attacks and focus on substantive issues that impact a larger demographic, they risk alienating voters and diminishing their relevance in the political arena. In conclusion, the ongoing debates within the Republican Party reflect a broader struggle over identity and purpose in a rapidly changing America. As party members navigate their next steps, the choices they make will not only shape their political future but also influence the lives of countless Americans. The coming months will be telling, as the party must decide whether to continue down a path of division or embrace a more inclusive approach that prioritizes the needs of the many. Over the FEW. In a highly charged atmosphere, the U.S. Senate is currently engaged in confirmation hearings for several key appointments, most notably that of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as the Secretary of Health and Human Services. Kennedy's nomination has sparked intense scrutiny, particularly due to his controversial views on vaccines, which have become a focal point of the hearings. As the nation grapples with public health challenges and vaccine skepticism, these proceedings could have wide-reaching implications for health policy in the United States. During the hearings, Kennedy faced tough questions from senators eager to probe his stance on vaccines amid a backdrop of rising vaccine hesitancy across the country. Public trust in vaccines is paramount, stated Senator Maggie Hassan, emphasizing the crucial role that leadership plays in public health. This sentiment was echoed throughout the proceedings as members of the Senate expressed concerns over Kennedy's past remarks, which many view as undermining public health efforts. Kennedy, for his part, attempted to clarify his position, asserting that his advocacy for vaccine safety is motivated by a desire to ensure public health rather than sowing doubt. "It's about transparency and trust," he remarked, trying to pivot the narrative toward a call for open dialogue regarding vaccine safety and efficacy. Nevertheless, the challenge remains steep as public sentiment around vaccines has become increasingly polarized. In parallel, the Senate also confirmed Scott Bessent as Treasury Secretary. Bessent's confirmation comes at a time when the U.S. economy is navigating several challenges, including inflation and supply chain disruptions. With a background in financial management, Bessent is expected to bring a pragmatic approach to the Treasury, focusing on fiscal responsibility while fostering economic growth. His confirmation received bipartisan support, reflecting a shared urgency to stabilize the economy. As the confirmation hearings unfold, they not only reveal the contrasting approaches to public health and economic management but also highlight the political landscape shaping these discussions. The Senate's deliberations are emblematic of broader societal debates over health policy, vaccine mandates, and economic recovery strategies, all of which are intrinsically linked to public perception and trust in governance. Looking ahead, the outcomes of these hearings could significantly influence the future direction of U.S. health policy and economic strategy. Should Kennedy be confirmed, his leadership will likely face immediate tests as he navigates the complex relationship between public health advocacy and vaccine skepticism. Meanwhile, Bessent's role as Treasury Secretary will be critical in addressing economic challenges that require both innovative solutions and the restoration of public confidence. As these pivotal issues develop, it will be essential for both nominees to engage transparently with the public and their respective constituencies. The stakes are high and the repercussions of these confirmations will resonate well beyond the Senate chambers, shaping the future governance of health and economic policies in America. As the U.S. House of Representatives embarks on a new legislative session, a flurry of bills have been introduced reflecting the diverse priorities and challenges facing the nation. Among the notable proposals is a controversial measure aimed at eliminating the Department of Education, which has sparked intense debate among lawmakers and constituents alike. This legislative activity, occurring in January 2025, sets the stage for an intriguing year ahead in American politics. In a bold move, a bill has been proposed to abolish the Department of Education altogether. Supporters argue that this drastic action could lead to a more localized and efficient educational system, allowing states greater autonomy over their education policies. Representative Jeff Hurd, who was recently honored in a local swearing-in ceremony, is among the proponents of this bill. "We need to empower local communities to make decisions that best suit their students," he stated, emphasizing the belief that federal oversight has often hampered local educational initiatives. Conversely, opponents of the bill express deep concern over the potential ramifications of such a decision. They argue that dismantling the Department of Education could lead to increased disparities in educational quality across the country, particularly impacting low-income students who rely on federally funded programs. "Education is a right, not a privilege," remarked one critic, highlighting the vital role that federal support plays in ensuring equitable access to quality education. In addition to the education bill, several other pieces of legislation have been introduced, indicating a proactive approach by the House to address pressing issues. For instance, various bills focusing on healthcare reform, climate change, and infrastructure improvements are also gaining attention. These proposals reflect a broader agenda aimed at tackling the multifaceted challenges facing American society, from economic inequality to environmental sustainability. As the legislative session progresses, the House will undoubtedly be a focal point of political discourse. The ongoing discussions surrounding these bills are likely to influence public opinion and set the tone for the upcoming elections. With the 2024 House election results still fresh in the minds of voters, the actions taken by lawmakers in the coming months will be closely scrutinized. Looking ahead, the implications of these legislative efforts will extend beyond the immediate political landscape. The outcomes of these bills could reshape the educational framework, impact the healthcare system, and influence environmental policies for years to come. As debates continue and decisions are made, the American public will remain engaged, eager to see how these developments unfold and what they mean for the future of the nation. The coming months promise to be pivotal, not only for the House of Representatives but for the direction of U.S. policy as a whole. In a landmark ruling, the Supreme Court has made significant strides in shaping the future of technology policy, particularly concerning the widely popular social media platform TikTok. This decision comes at a time when questions about user privacy, national security, and the influence of foreign entities on American soil are at the forefront of public discourse. As discussions around digital citizenship and platform regulation intensify, the court's ruling is seen by many as a pivotal moment that balances the interests of users, lawmakers, and the tech industry. The Supreme Court's decision has been lauded by technology policy advocates who argue that it upholds the principles of free speech and innovation. This ruling reinforces the idea that platforms like TikTok are not just entertainment venues but also spaces for expression and social interaction, stated a prominent legal analyst. The court recognized that undue restrictions on these platforms could stifle creativity and diminish the rich diversity of content that users have come to expect. However, the ruling does not come without its critics. Detractors express concern that the decision may overlook significant security risks associated with foreign-owned applications. TikTok, owned by Chinese company ByteDance, has faced scrutiny over its data collection practices and the potential for user information to be accessed by the Chinese government. A recent report indicated that 60% of Americans are worried about their privacy when using the app. Highlighting the delicate balance the court had to navigate between safeguarding civil liberties and addressing national security concerns. As the ruling sets a precedent, it signals to lawmakers that any future attempts to regulate social media must be carefully considered. The court emphasized that regulation should not be overly broad or punitive, as this could inadvertently infringe upon constitutional rights. Legal experts predict that this will lead to a more nuanced approach to tech legislation, where lawmakers will need to engage with tech companies to understand the implications of their policies. The impact of the ruling is expected to reverberate beyond TikTok, influencing how various tech platforms operate and how they are governed. Companies may now feel emboldened to challenge any regulations that they perceive as overly restrictive, potentially leading to a wave of litigation that could further define the boundaries of tech policy in America. Looking ahead, the Supreme Court's decision will likely encourage more dialogue between tech companies, lawmakers, and the public. As the digital landscape continues to evolve, the court's emphasis on free expression and innovation could serve as a guiding principle for future legislative efforts. With the 2024 elections approaching, how candidates choose to address these issues could shape the next chapter in the ongoing debate over technology, privacy, and national security. The conversation is far from over, and the repercussions of this ruling will undoubtedly influence the trajectory of tech policy in the years to come.